Again, friends, Crafty Gal Victoria here. Today I'm going to show you another item that you can make utilizing all of your yarn ball scraps, whether they're teeny tiny or bigger. So in my first video, I showed you guys all the hats that I was making. Now that's a given. This is something a lot of people do with their leftover yarn from other projects. So the first few videos might be things you're already well aware of. I'm just throwing some ideas out there and making a series to show you some of the things that I make and some of your input on what you make with your leftover yarn. So let me just dive right in and show you some of the items that I have also made. So in my first video, episode 1 of my new series, What the Scrap, what to make with yarn ball scraps, I made hats. This time, to coordinate with the hats, because I like to make sets, is I made a bunch of scarves. Now this was just a little bit left over. I know I could have made more of the all-in-one granny squares, but I decided because I made a hat, I'm gonna go ahead and make a scarf. Now all the hats that I made in my first video were for children size 6 to 10. So the scarves are also for children that are size age 6 to 10, not size. So all of these scrap ball scarves that I made are going to be for children ages 6 to 10 because I do donate them in a set to a charity, and there you have it. So I love the way the all-in-one granny, Red Heart Super Saver all-in-one granny worked up in this scarf. And another great use, just a bonus use, is tassels. Little fringe or tassels on the end of scarves, or pom-poms for hats, or tassels on mug rugs, things like that. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, little bonus one. But here's the first one I made. I love the way it worked up. It's gonna look so nice with that hat. As a matter of fact, I have a few pictures that I'm gonna include here of the hat on the model with the scarf, as well as just laid out flat on the table. So scarves, my friends, you can use up smaller grams, 50 grams or less of your scrap yarn to make scarves and fringe, if you like fringe. You don't have to do the fringe. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it looks cute. It's a cute accessory for a child. I personally don't like it on my own scarves so much, but that's just me. Okay, now this is the, I believe it's called Earth Glow. Earth Glow? I don't know. I'll put the name down below. But here's, I used up another big chunk of that vintage yarn and made up this beautiful scarf again for a child age 6 to 10. And I went ahead, I just love this yarn. It's so pretty. I went ahead and did the fringe as well. And it just looks so nice. And I was able to use some orange scraps that I had in my scrap basket, and I just added orange along with the Earth Glow. And it just turned out so lovely. I love it. And it's gonna keep some little child warm, and they're gonna get a new set and love it. So that's the second scarf that I have made. And then I had the Red Heart Super Saver ombre in the blue color. I made that hat. Like I said, I'm gonna be adding photos here. And I went ahead and made a scarf out of some of that. So there's the fringe. I love the gradient of the ombre effect. It's just so pretty. It looks really nice. So I put the darker fringe on this end, and then I put the lighter fringe on the darker end. And I just love the way it turned out. I did half double crochet rows, so it's a little thicker. I didn't want to do like a single crochet. I don't know why. I feel like it's a little bit too stiff, but I did this scarf and I just love the way it turned out. It coordinates so nicely with the hats that I made in my first video. And then finally, I had that, I called it copper yarn. I didn't know the name of it, but it looks kind of coppery-ish. Anyways, I wanted to use up some of my brown scraps, but I didn't, after making that hat, I did not have all but a little tiny ball of that copper left. So I took all of the brown scraps that I had and kind of made a stripy brown to coordinate with the brim of that hat. And then the few copper yarn that I had left, I incorporated it into the fringe, as well as the colors and the scraps of the brown that I had in the scarf. So this, to me, I think this turned out amazing. It worked up so nice, and it looks really good together. It looks like it was on purpose and intentional, which I guess in a way it was, but I didn't plan it out. I just used what I had, and I'm making a little dent in my yarn ball scraps. So I have 4 scarves and 5 hats. The one hat that was more colorful and bright, I don't think I had enough left to do anything, and I don't have any colors in my stash that would work up like this brown one to where I can incorporate the fringe into it to make it more cohesive. I don't believe. I'm gonna double check my stash, but if I can come up with something, I'll show you in a future video for what the scrap. But that is another idea that I have for using up your leftover yarn in your stash that you're just wanting to use, but make something useful. And these will go to a good cause. And I love it. I love it. I had a dear friend, Pat, email me a suggestion. Thank you, Pat. I was already planning on making that item out of my scraps, but I appreciate your input so much. Let me know what some of the things are that you guys make out of your yarn scraps, and I hope you find this series useful. I'm not sure how often I will post. I'm gonna at least do 1 video a month on the What the Scrap series, because eventually I'd love to have a giant playlist of all the things. So if somebody in the future discovers my channel and they're like, oh, what do I make with yarn scraps? And they discover that playlist, it'll give them a plethora of ideas. Now, I know you can go other places, and there's a lot of people that tell you what they make out of yarn scraps, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the things that I do with my leftover yarn. And I think by the end of the year, I am definitely going to be able to utilize all of those yarn scraps. So until the next video, my friends, and I show you what I make in the next What the Scrap video, we'll see you in a future video. This is Crafty Gal Victoria here. Bye-bye.